just about everyone in the business of announcing things knows you ought to steer away from making big announcements on April Fool's Day. Everyone thinks it's a prank, but just about everyone is not RTD. They stepped in front of a microphone today to announce an opening date for the G line. You know, the train to Wheat Ridge and Arvada. I call it the train to the grain. Perhaps poetically, they chose April Fool's Day to announce the opening of a train that was slated to open 2.5 years ago. I couldn't help but ask. In fact, it was the first question at RTD's news conference today. And Dave Genova couldn't help but answer with a smile.
We're not fooling, and
I'm just double checking. Yet on April Fool's Day, RTD announced the G line, originally slated for October of 2016, will now open in 2019.
The grand opening is Friday, April 26th.
Genova says the transit agency got the go-ahead from federal regulators in the middle of last week. Enough approval that RTD feels confident setting a date. Though don't be fooled, there's still another hurdle for the train to jump. RTD can't open the train without quiet zones in place, and they're not officially there yet.
We obtained the constant warning time waivers last Friday, the written waivers from the FRA. And so we expect that within a 21-day time period, we will have quiet zones.
A 21-day waiting period that ends on April 19th, a week before the train is slated to start carrying passengers. And just because the train is operating after the 26th, Genova says it doesn't mean those flaggers won't be out, since RTD is still trying to sort a few things out with the feds.
I think that what the public will see is we may open with a few grade crossings that don't have attendance, and then they'll slowly kind of disappear.
But if this announcement signifies anything, it's that RTD is confident. Arvada's mayor told me today he's not skeptical, because if RTD were to announce this, then have to back away from it, they'd have even more egg on their face. 2019 might just be the year of getting things done for RTD, things they've been trying to get done for several years. Well, you can't fault the people of Arvada for being a bit skeptical about all of this. Our Arvada resident, photojournalist Tom Cole, found some won't believe it until they see it with people on it.
It has been dubbed the ghost train by local merchants. A train passing through Old Town Arvada with no one on it.
About time.
I thought it was an April Fool's joke.
And I thought, cool.
Remember these guys? They're the ones who coined the ghost train phrase and made t-shirts.
Fan favorite? Yeah, the ghost train shirt.
Now they have to update their t-shirt because the G line will soon have people on it. And no, they have not been growing their beards since the original announcement almost 2.5 years ago.
Transportation is a good connection for no matter what. Whether you're bringing in good, going bad, back and forth. The better transportation you got, the better you're going to be.
They have embraced the delay and have had their fun, but like others, they'll believe it when it's here.
My butt's not in the seat yet.
There is still a bit of apprehension in this town, but people are starting to believe.
I called the city and I said, my contacts at the city, and I said, all right, is it an April Fool's joke? And they said, no, it is real. And I said, I think I gotta go.
We actually found out on Friday that
Mayor Mark Williams knew today's announcement was a possibility, but wasn't sure until it was announced.
Arvada's great about making lemonade out of lemons. Arvada may look sleepy and it may act sleepy, but it's not a sleepy town. But without the train noise, it's going to be awfully incredible. I'm going to be on the first train.
For next, I'm Tom Cole.
So to celebrate, RTD says it won't charge people to ride the G line for the first 2 days it's open. The train will run between 4 a.m. and 12:30 at night, and when they do charge, it'll be a local fare to travel the whole line, so that's $3 for 3 hours. So another key piece of Democratic on the Democratic agenda is one signature away from becoming law. This morning, the State House passed the final version of the red flag bill. The legislation would allow the temporary seizure of someone's weapons if they're deemed a threat. It's now headed to the governor's desk. But just as a Republican sheriff is making national news against it, here's our politics guy, Marshall Zellinger.
Nationally, he's known as the Colorado sheriff willing to go to jail rather than enforce the red flag bill, soon to be signed into law. Locally, he's known as Weld County Sheriff Steve Reams.
That reads well, I guess, in some circles. That's the absolute last thing I would like to see happen. for obvious reasons.
The red flag bill passed its final step in the Colorado legislature this morning.
House Bill 1177 is repassed as amended.
Now it awaits the signature of Governor Jared Polis. So if it's law and a judge orders Reams to go search someone's home and take their weapons away because they're a threat, and he doesn't, and that person uses their weapon to hurt someone, then what?
Whether there's liability to be incurred, you know, I don't know that you could say that about the use or the non-use of the red flag bill. A person is still accountable for their actions, and that's who I want to deal with. If we did go in and take someone's firearms and that person still went out and committed an act of violence, wouldn't I be as liable then?
Democratic House Majority Leader Representative Alec Garnett is one of the sponsors of the bill, and he said there were 25 changes made as a result of feedback in opposition, just none from Reams.
If Sheriff Reams would have come down and sat with me and said, hey, Representative Garnett, you know, you didn't think of this or you didn't think of that, and it was, you know, something, then I went to the other sheriffs that I had been working with, and I'm like, yeah, that is a great idea. I would have, of course, made those changes.
I guess hindsight being 20/20, that would have been great if I would have known he was open to listening.
Reams says he spoke with Douglas County Sheriff Tony Spurlock, who was the law enforcement face in favor of the red flag bill. Reams did not talk with Garnett.
The phone works both ways. If I would have believed that Alec Garnett was truly trying to make a meaningful change to the bill, I would have gladly taken his phone call as well.
For Next, I'm Marshall Zellinger.
So in domestic violence situations, when a restraining order is requested, a judge can require a person to give up their weapons. Reams tells us that in those cases, the court is responsible for getting the guns out of the home, not the sheriff's office through a search warrant. May I make a recommendation? This is where we point you towards something, anything that isn't ours but is worth your time. So as we approach the 20th anniversary of the attacks at Columbine High School, Colorado Public Radio has interviews with survivors who are now parents. The student survivors are in their mid to late 30s. They talk about unique challenges raising their own children. How do they tell their kids what happened? What did they leave out? One survivor says when she sends her kids to school, occasionally she has debilitating panic attacks. If you want to hear more, there's a link to the CPR story on the Next Facebook page. More money for roads and money for state-funded full-day kindergarten will be the focus of the budget debate at the Capitol this month. Last week, the Senate passed a budget with $336 million for CDOT. That includes a $100 additional million that the Senate added. The House will take that out as soon as it starts debating the budget, and House Democrats were non-committal about adding it back in. We also found out that fully funded full-day kindergarten, one of Governor Polis's promises, has an asterisk next to it. Next week, the House will take up a bill to fully fund full-day kindergarten, at least for 1 year. That bill comes with a caveat. So if the General Assembly stops funding kindergarten students as full-time pupils, then a school district or charter school may resume charging a fee for tuition. So how long full-day kindergarten is funded will be a year-to-year decision. Governor Polis this afternoon signed into law a bill that offers more protections to small temporary businesses run by kids. Like sponsors say they were inspired by an incident last Memorial Day when Denver police shut down a lemonade stand run by three young boys and their mother. The family did not have permits for that lemonade stand. The bill signed today prohibits any local governments from requiring a license or a permit for such small temporary businesses, provided it's operated fewer than 84 days per year and is located far enough from other businesses to avoid unfair competition. So for tonight's What Do You Say? We are venturing down to southern Colorado. There's a river and wildlife area in Los Animas County that starts with an A. The name's on the bottom of your screen. A next viewer named James wanted to know how to pronounce it. So we reached out to Colorado Parks and Wildlife to ask, what do you say?
Episcopal Wildlife Area. Down in southeast Colorado, there was the Episcopal culture, not directly related to today's Native Americans. They were an ancient culture around 1,000 or so, or 2,000 years ago. They just kind of disappeared. There's a Ute word, Episcopal, that means stinky or stagnant water. And the Episcopal River pools in the summer. It doesn't flow all summer long, especially in drought years. So it becomes stagnant and stinky. So the Ute name applies to the Episcopal River, but not the culture.
Well, there you go. Episcopal. So what other names in Colorado have you stumped? Email them to us at next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. A Colorado town just lost its entire police department.
People were not satisfied with the level of service we were providing.
DU's hockey team could help the Avs if they make it to the playoffs. And Colorado gets wild in the suburbs. Next. Welcome back. A few police officers, in Kiowa are looking for work. They used to make up the whole department for the town, about an hour southeast of Denver. They learned Friday the town was making a change. Here's our Noel Brennan.
The squad cars are parked. Not one is patrolling, and Kevin Pope is home on a Monday afternoon.
I was the chief of police in the town of Kiowa.
He worked full-time until Friday.
And that's true. I mean, I was on call 24/7.
His last day was also the last.
I was shocked.
For his three-man department.
I was very shocked.
We thought we were fair with everybody and right up front with them, but it was what needed to be done.
Interim Town Administrator Joe Racine.
There was no easy way to do difficult things.
Says the town had to cut costs.
You have to be very careful about every nickel and dime that's spent. And that department was over half of the town's general fund.
Revenue from traffic fines was down, and the town says they'd gotten complaints.
People speeding on the highway, especially in the school zone, before and after school.
My response to that is I'm a one-man show.
Now, the Elbert County Sheriff's Office will be running the show.
It's a common model. There are towns all over the state that contract with the sheriff for law enforcement.
A former chief worries deputies will be spread too thin.
I hope the police department comes back.
He'd rather not be home on Monday afternoon.
I have lots of friends there. I have lots of acquaintances. I have people I talk to on a daily basis. I have elderly people I check on. And those are the folks I worry about.
For Next, I'm Noel Brennan.
So the town is working out the details with the Elbert County Sheriff's Office right now. People with questions about the change are welcome to attend the town board meeting next Tuesday night.
Not too shabby for a Monday, in spite of the cloud cover. Almost 60 degrees in the city. As a matter of fact, our high at 58 is just about the average for this time of year. And there's some cold air waiting in the wings to the north of us. Won't have to really deal with much of that, but we will have to deal with the moisture from that California storm approaching. Tomorrow, we'll have some sunshine, but late in the day, that front kind of nosedives into the northern border, and that's when we might see a late day shower or thunderstorm. Scattered showers are likely tomorrow night and then again on Wednesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday look a little bit unsettled, but certainly not cold. Isolated showers out around Sterling and Ray tonight. A little bit of snow in the northern and central mountains, but no advisories out for travel. Some beneficial rain coming in the next 24 hours. You can see the futurecast by Tuesday, 9 o'clock. Some decent rain, especially east of DIA. All clears out and all warms up just in time for the home opener and your weekend. Partly cloudy tonight, low 34. Tomorrow, mix of cloud and sun, highs back close to 60. A late day shower. Showers will be widespread tomorrow night, only to return Wednesday afternoon, the coolest day of the week. Warmer Thursday, and how about that home opener? Friday's forecast high 67 degrees, close to 70, moving into Saturday and Sunday. And Steve, our viewers do not disappoint. Look at this beautiful sunrise shot from Windsor.
It's gorgeous, Kathy. Yeah. Love it. Thank you. You'll love this too, by the way, Kathy. So the most Colorado thing we saw today, a cat who appears to be mesmerized by the view from her backyard. It is the view from Molly Broussard's backyard in Loveland. Penelope is Molly's year-and-a-half-old cat. Molly says Penelope is quite the hunter, but perhaps decided that elk was maybe out of her league. So this is the first time Penelope has seen elk, and Molly says she was absolutely entranced. Send us your most Colorado pictures to next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. Hey, give it up to the University of Denver's men's hockey team. They are going to the Frozen Four for the 16th time in franchise history. That is just awesome. If you are not a DU fan but love the Colorado Avalanche, I'm going to give you a reason to cheer for the Pioneers. DU is playing the first round of the Frozen Four against the UMass Minutemen. The Minutemen have an absolute stud playing for them who's lighting college hockey on fire. His name is Cale Makar. He's a defenseman. He had 30 points in 25 games. He's also a prospect for the Colorado Avalanche. So follow me for a second here. If DU beats UMass in the first round, Makar's season would be over. And that means he could sign with the Avalanche if they make the playoffs. Think about it. Makar could join the Avs midway through the first round of the playoffs. I was planning to root for DU anyway, but maybe I'll yell a little louder. Despite all our snow this year, the Colorado River appears to be empty along a stretch where it's known to rage. Please, let's not give people an excuse for not parking their shopping carts properly. And a sign that may make you think about finding a different ATM. Next. So people will make up any excuse not to return their shopping carts these days. Who would have guessed a driver crossing the line would be one of those excuses? An ex-viewer named Emily took this photo in the parking lot of a Safeway at Broadway in Alameda. I've been fighting the good fight to get people to return their carts for a long time now, but even I admit it would be tough to do it with something like this there. Or maybe this guy or gal took the whole cart return thing too far. Have you seen someone crossing a line? Email your pictures to next@9news.com or tweet them with the hashtag #HeyNext. The Colorado River is usually seen ripping through Glenwood Canyon every spring. And that's why it's a little shocking to see a section of it bone dry right now as you drive past it on I-70. Corey Rebenhagen got a look today, and the locals say it's perfectly normal.
The drive through Glenwood Canyon today just doesn't look right without the raging Colorado River tearing through the tight, twisty narrows alongside the road. A section between the Hanging Lake Dam and the Shoshone Hydro Plant is empty due to a more than 100-year-old water right by the power plant.
You know, they did some things that they wouldn't allow today. I mean, they wouldn't allow you to dewater to pavement dry a section of the Colorado River anymore. But it's a very old permit, it's very old water rights.
Senior water rights dating back to 1902 gives the Shoshone Hydro Plant priority to 1,250 cubic feet per second of water flow. And with the snow melt still on hold in the high country, the river is not yet up to that rate. So to ensure they get their rightful flow, the river is dammed at Hanging Lake.
All the water in the Colorado River goes through pipes that are in the mountain, in the canyon walls, comes out through the turbines and rejoins the Colorado here.
Eric Larson owns a rafting company that operates in Glenwood Canyon.
But we're out here for fun. We love it.
They're getting their first practice runs in today, and he's not concerned about this early flow. He says this part of the river is still about a month away from go time, and he's predicting a big season.
So we'll probably see it come up about, I would say, 10 or 12 feet in this location, up to about my waist if we're lucky. That's good and high. We're just super stoked. That's all it is.
In Glenwood Canyon, meteorologist Corey Rebenhagen for Next.
So a sign in Colorado's high country takes the whole need cash now thing to a new level. Next. So here's a sign that at least one Next viewer thought could be a little misleading in a very amusing way. The sign reads, ATM inside. And of course we assume it's inside the business and not in that porta potty sitting right next to the sign. That would be interesting. Next viewer Jeff Papp saw this in Silverthorne, sent it to Next. Thank you for the laugh, Jeff. We love the funny signs. Keep them coming. At next@9news.com, you can use the hashtag #HeyNext to get our attention as well. Your feedback now, Russell says, great to hear about the RTD line to Arvada. As a Longmont resident, do you have any April Fool's news about light rail reaching us before 2042? I think that's why they didn't announce it, because they didn't want to fool you, Russell. And Jake says, time to party like it's October 2016. See you next time.